Hey guys, welcome to my little beauty spot in my bathroom. I have like a little chair and that I sit at to do my hair and my makeup when I get ready for going out, doing photo shoots. But today I want to show you part of my new beauty regimen. So I'm over 30 now, yep, 33, and it's an important thing to have a skincare regimen, but it's something that I've never had. So I was kind of on the market looking for some things and was approached by a friend of mine who sells Rodan and Fields. And so I thought I'd give it a try because I heard so many really great things about it, but I really wanted to try it for a while before I talked about it because I wanted to see if it really worked. So I typically in the past have had really broken out skin. I've always been prone to acne, and so I always sort of thought that that was my issue. However, I've learned over time that it's actually not my issue, and my skin is actually just really uneven, and I usually get really, really dry in my nose. So one of my frequent makeup artists, she's always like, why can't you get your skin hydrated? Like, what are you doing? So I've tried so many different creams and so many different things to try and get things hydrated. But within, I think, 3 days of using this system, I actually started to see my dryness completely go away. So my skin started to be a little bit more even without makeup and a little bit smoother and not as many red spots because I have a lot of scars from when I was a teenager. And I'm just really loving the line. And I used to think that having a skincare regimen meant that I had to spend like hours every night. So under 5 minutes every night really just sort of gets me going. So I'm just gonna go through my routine with you so you can see. So we're gonna start with eye cloth. So this is kind of what I've been using as like a makeup remover. So I have a bit of makeup on right now, including eyes, just so you could see how it comes off. So I'm just going to use the cloth. And we'll start with my eyes because usually I find mascara is the hardest to take off, but this does a pretty good job. So pardon my funny facial expressions as I do this, but you'll get to see what my routine is really like. So as you can see, it's taking off all the makeup. And then I use another spot and I start wiping off my actual makeup. I have to always be careful with my nose ring because if I pull too hard, it'll just come out, which can be a little painful. So as you can see, it's taking off all my makeup. And I don't have raccoon eyes, so that's a really good thing, that it takes off my like super duper mascara. And don't forget your neck. We always forget our neck. So clearly this works. So that's step one. Step two is I've been using the reverse line. So I start with a deep exfoliating, sorry, it's backwards, a deep exfoliating wash. So you just need a tiny little bit. So like a tiny little bit, and I'm gonna use a tiny little bit of water in my hands just to get it moving around. And I'm just gonna rub it on my face and exfoliate. I usually do it for about a minute just to really get in there. And for me, some of the spots that I need to exfoliate more is usually around my nose just because of its weird dryness. But again, it's gotten so much better using this line. So there you have it, a little bit on my neck. I'm just gonna rinse it off now. Sorry for the water noise. I'll pre-wet my cloth to hopefully take some sound away. Oh, see, there's the nose ring. Okay. So I've rinsed my face, and now I'm going to let it dry a little bit. Okay, and I'm going to use the little pads that they give you, and then this is step two. So this is intensive brightening toner. So I'm just going to put a little bit on here, just like 2 or 3 drops, and put it all over my face. Okay. Again, not forgetting your neck. Okay. So then the next part, so this is something you only do a couple times a week. It's not every day. So this little funky tool is supposed to help with firming up your skin some more. So you shouldn't do it longer than a minute, they say, otherwise you're doing it for too long, and you're not supposed to press really hard. So you're supposed to go in different directions, so making sure you get all of your face. So you go sideways, up and down, And it just feels like they're little tiny pricks. It just doesn't hurt at all. And then they say to go sideways. And you do it in the different sections of your face. So you're going to think of your forehead, one side, the other side, and your chin and your neck. So it's actually really relaxing. And then we go sideways. So again, as you can see, I'm like moving through this whole process pretty quickly. It doesn't take too long, but it's such an important part to have really good skin. And I'm a little bit broken out right now just because, you know, I'm a girl and that time of the month is coming, but that's okay. But I found that now my breakouts really only happen around that time of the month as opposed to all during the month. Ever since I started using this, I find that my skin doesn't break out nearly as much either, and I'm not using an acne line. So that's actually pretty cool in my opinion. I'm just gonna do a little bit on my nose too. Oh, and my nose ring. Okay, so that's done, and then I'm gonna clean it later when I'm done this, but basically they give you a little cleaner. You put this in there with some water, you clean it just so it disinfects it, and then you store it in there just so it stays safe and you don't wreck the little roller. So the next part is taking the step 3. So 3R is dual active brightening complex, and it's a retinol formula, and you mix it with dual active brightening complex, so it's got a vitamin C formula. So again, you use a tiny little bit, and I still have like more than half the product, and I've been using this for almost 2 months now. So just a tiny little bit of each, and it's important that you mix them because there's some active ingredients that come together when you mix them together. Oh, my face feels so nice. So there's that. And then the last step is using a moisturizer. So this is a step 4. It's a broad spectrum SPF 55, sorry, which is important just to keep your skin protected as you go out into the day. I mean, here in Toronto, we're going on almost 2 weeks with like no sun. But it's good to protect your skin. And so you just rub it all over. So I pretty much usually just do this at night. Sometimes I'll do some of the process in the morning, but I find I just do it at night. And when I started doing it every other day, and then you work into doing it every day, just so that your skin gets accustomed to it. But usually when I start a new program, my skin like everything flakes off, and I usually react to it, but I haven't reacted at all, which is amazing. So that was one of the things, that I was really nervous about, and didn't have to deal with that, which is awesome. So a couple of the other things that I use too, so that's my regimen, which is pretty quick, and I mean it's a little bit longer because I was talking through it, but some of the other things I use, so during my period time and leading up to it when I start breaking out, so I'll be using it like the next week, I use an acne treatment with sulfur wash. So it's just a cream, it's like a face wash as well, so I'll start with that process just to, some of the stuff that's in there kind of helps with the acne. And then this is something I use as my moisturizer before I put makeup on for the most part. And sometimes if my skin's really dry, which happens a lot in Toronto, just because in the winter weather. But again, it's decreased so much, is I use the moisture replenishing cream. So it's another moisturizer, and it's super silky and soft feeling. So I usually put that on before I put on my primer to do my face. So that right there is my new facial regimen, which I absolutely love. So I'm going to be doing a blog post about this, so you're probably seeing this with my blog. And I'll put all the details on how you can figure out what your skin type is. So there's a test that I did to figure out what system I needed. And then based on the questions I answered, it gave me results on what line I should use. And then I'll give you details on how you can purchase your own. I love it, and so this is something that I'm going to be using going forward and continue to use just because I found it so helpful for my skin. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video, and maybe you can get your own and you'll see some of the results that I've seen too, which have been really fabulous. Anyways, have a great day!